Welcome back to Coffee Spills and Pineapples, another episode where our creatives talk about their journey, their stories to inspire you, the audience, the listener. Today, my guest is Lilit Altunyan, picture book writer and illustrator, and a multi talented artist. Hi, Lilit.
Hi, Rafi.
Welcome to our podcast, and I'm happy to host you here. You're one of my all time favorite designer artists, and even my tattoo artist. And we'll talk a little bit about that.
Thanks for having me here. I'm very happy.
So, we met, I remember several years ago, and I think Karina introduced us.
Yeah.
Just returned from living from France.
I haven't even returned. I was just visiting.
Oh, you were visiting. That's right. But you were planning on returning.
Yes.
And then we decided on collaborating. Tell us a little bit about the work you were doing in France. What were you doing in France? Because you were born and raised here, but then I discovered you coming back from France. So,
Yeah.
what were you doing there?
I went there to study,
Right.
but also I was married there.
Ah.
So I kind of used the marriage reason to study there because I wanted to study illustration and animation for a long time.
Mhm.
And I haven't had this opportunity here in Armenia. So while I was there, I said, okay, this is my chance to study what I want to study. So I did my studies for 2 years of animation, illustration, bande dessinée, and design.
During your stay in,
Yeah.
did you work at all? Like, did you have some odd jobs? Did you have experiences in the work field?
It was really hard for me to find a regular job in France. And I don't know what was the
Language?
reason.
Was it language or you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that overall artists are a lot in France. and
Saturated.
Yeah, it's very saturated, especially picture book artists, illustrators, and they have really great schools. And each year they prepare really great artists.
Mhm.
And I think it also works from school to job.
The
The
linkage
linkage
is
is
then, yeah, smoother there.
I have had a proposition to work in an animation company after my school, but at that time I realized that animation, just animating, is not interesting to me. I really like to make films as a director, as an
I see.
animation director. So I refused this offer.
Uh-huh.
So I could be an animator in France.
You could have been there, and our podcast could have been over Zoom, for instance. Yeah.
No, but I'm really happy I came back.
I'm interested on seeing how someone, because I mean a lot of the artists here that I speak to, local artists, their dream or their desire is to be in a place like France. There are many opportunities, society is more open, experimentation is more welcome. So how did you go from that, that space and saying, no, I think Armenia is my place?
First of all, the society in France wasn't something I was feeling happy
That's an
living where.
important thing.
Yeah, it was much judgmental and much strict.
Yeah.
Very square thinking.
Oh,
So
square
to take
thinking.
that, yeah. I think overall there are many creatives and creativity field is really open, but the society itself is very rigid,
Conservative
and
I
rigid.
see.
So maybe this was the city I was living in. I don't know, but
But it's
overall,
not Paris, right?
no, it wasn't Paris.
I
Maybe
see.
in Paris things are different.
I see,
But I
okay.
wouldn't live in.
So Yerevan is a good place for you.
Yes,
It's not very
ideal
big.
size for me. But I think the major thing for me was that I wanted to do picture books and I wanted to write picture books and illustrate picture books. I would do it better here in Armenian language and for Armenian kids.
see.
This was something really needed here, and this was a gap that I wanted to fill in here.
Okay.
So this was one of my kind of hard jobs, let's say, that brought me to Armenia, and I'm happy to stay here and live here and create for Armenian children in Armenia.
You've done quite well for yourself, in the sense that, after your return, I've seen many different projects that you've worked on, creative projects that have been quite, I would say, successful, well received from the different audiences. So I know that you also worked on an animation film. You you published several books, not just one, children's books. Yeah. And you had your tattoo parlor or still have it working in tattoo, but you also do like We together worked on graphic design, creating like
Mhm.
um, visual identity for different things. And then I remember the Francophonie project.
Yeah.
That was like the one we really have fun
Right.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was really great because the customer was also very flexible and open, and allowed us to be as creative as we wanted to be. And
I think this time I really felt I'm working in France because I
yes,
was writing
be-
emails in French and let's
yeah. So it was sort of, it felt sort of like working in France, and together you and I were doing a really good tag team, and having that communications with the clients in the Francophonie office. It's really interesting to talk about publications, m- but I'm fascinated also how you went from publishing
Mhm.
to actually making an animation film.
I wanted to become an animator since I was a child, so animation is with me all the time. But when studying in France and doing an animation entirely by myself, I discovered that my patience is not enough.
That's right. Okay.
So I switched to picture books because this is also something I love.
You mean the technical part of making an animation is
Yeah.
very tedious, takes a
Yeah.
long time, and you didn't have the
It kind
patience
of
for this?
kills this desire to have the final work as
I
fast as I
see.
can.
So you wanted to do the creative visualization of it, and then
Yep.
if somebody else
Yep.
was to move the character, that's fine with you?
I create the entire world, I create the visual,
I
I
see.
create the characters, but the moving part, even though I love it, but it's taking too.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but recently you also made this film. I mean, you went back to France to
Yes.
actually make a film. What
Yes.
part of that did you do? Did you actually do the technical part this time?
A little bit,
I
yes.
see.
Yeah. So then I've learned that here in Armenia, a team from Ansi Festival
Mhm.
coming to Armenia to choose some projects
Yeah.
so they can maybe help this project to become a film. Because
Co-produced, maybe?
they don't know, they didn't do
I
co-production.
see.
So in
Okay.
anime in Annecy Festival, there is Animation du Monde
Mhm.
program.
Yes.
A team of creative people. They go to different countries where animation is not yet so developed,
Yes.
and they choose projects and they help to pitch this
Yeah.
project. The winner goes to Annecy Festival to pitch there, and then if the winner finds a co-production,
I see. Okay.
the
So
film
it was
is.
just a
Yeah.
pitching process, and then
Yeah.
co-production would happen
Yes.
if the pitching
Yes.
went well.
So I participated to this
I see. Okay.
program, and my film project won the first.
Big pineapple right there.
Yes,
Yes,
that was
thing. Yeah,
very
it's very
nice.
good. Yeah, nice.
So I got to go to pitch at Annecy Festival in the big.
So you had a jury and people were
Yes.
selecting, and they
Yes.
selected your film?
Yes, and I got selected by Folimage Studio
Wow.
for co-production. So my film actually became the first animation short that was co-produced with France. So
With
Armenia,
Armenia.
France.
Oh, I
Yes.
see. Okay. The first one, which means
Yes.
for all these years, we were just either producing ourselves as Armenia,
I
you
don't
know?
think animation film industry was developed enough.
Yeah.
So we do co-production. Also, I think there were some problems with the law of
Yes.
film and something.
True.
Yeah, but maybe one, two films. Before me, there was one film who went to Annecy Festival as just a film, but it wasn't co-produced.
For screening, more
Yes,
like for
yes,
screening. Yeah.
yes. So as an industry, I think now, yeah, it's starting to develop, and we have many co-productions.
I'm glad that this may sound very bold of me to say, you sort of paved the way, and younger animators can at least see an example of a co-production and use that model, perhaps, or at least people in France know about animation filmmakers in Armenia.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I believe that my film took me with it. I don't believe that I created a film that got,
Mm.
sometimes some things should happen, and I was just,
You were just
yeah,
following
I
your
was just following,
project.
yeah, I
Yeah,
was
you
just
were just
following my
following
project.
it.
And yeah, I'm very happy that my project went through this road that opened it for
Yes.
others. I'm really happy
I'm
with it.
glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. I mean, I worked a lot with filmmakers here, either documentary, and I did a little bit of jury duty, and
Yeah.
and then I make my own short films too. I've seen the struggle that Armenia's had to transition itself from the very, I would say, even corrupt post-Soviet institutional infrastructure to a more open and ready to co-produce. Because this was one of the reasons that we weren't able to co-produce, is that it was just so corrupt and internally self-funding mechanisms. So I'm glad that you had this experience, and I really do hope. What's the film called?
Film is called When I'm Sad,
Mm.
Quand je suis triste. I wrote a poem about it. It happened, the project actually developed after some difficult time in my life. I had this poetry and I had characters and I had the way I imagined the film would be. It's very poetic.
I'm going to sort of contextualize this uh, story with what we do with this podcast. So it was a coffee spill in your life.
Yeah.
Something happened, and you chose, you chose not to ignore it. You actually created something beautiful out of it. So that's your big pineapple.
Yeah.
That's why this sort of failures and success go hand in hand.
For sure.
So I'm happy that you shared the story with us. And I think this is the kind of thing that I want our audiences to hear and know, that sometimes when things don't go your way, it's not the end.
No, especially for artists. We kind of learn from childhood, or I don't know from where, but we learn to express our coffee
Emotions, yeah,
spirits through art and transform it and just give it to others with the symbolic language, and people connect to it. And if they also feel and connect to their thing, this is an experience, a common experience, let's say. So for me as an artist, this is very important.
Regardless where you live.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not living and talking in Armenia, but this is true also in France, where you lived and experienced, Montreal, where I lived and experienced.
Film really got far. As an Armenian film, the film went to more than 55 festivals.
55 festivals. Congratulations. Those are like 55 pineapples. You have a truck full of pineapples, Lilit. You mentioned something about childhood. All of us in kindergarten, we paint, we draw, we use our fingers, experiment with brushes and paper, papier mache and all of this.
Yeah.
Some of us take it further and go study art, and they become artists. Others just make it a hobby, and some others just forget about it.
Yeah.
How did the transition go? I mean, I assume you were doing art when you were a child.
So my pain is that I never went to art school. So my parents were the Soviet time parents who took me to the piano lessons.
Music. Well, that's not bad.
No,
It's
but
also
I didn't like it.
Ah.
I like creative part of music, but I didn't like learning all this,
Yeah, the notes and solfeggio and this.
So I could just play a music, just like creating at the spot
I see.
and just enjoying that part. Anyway, so I had this thing that I never went to art school, but I always wanted to become an artist. I mean, this was always with me. I even didn't think that I could be something else. In the end, I just gave up and I went straight to art university.
So the power of wanting to be an artist was very strong.
It was me,
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine me in other form.
Knowing you, I couldn't imagine you doing other things, anything else than art. How important it was for you to know that this is what you were doing. And then you mentioned something earlier. Your work, your publications are focused for the children. So the stories that you create and the illustrations that you do for these publications, which are 3, yeah?
So far, yeah.
So far. Nice. Good answer. Targeting children. So where does these stories come from?
I really like these books, picture books. When I was in France, I was going to the bookstores. I was just reading picture books and being fascinated by the stories, because we didn't have this in Armenia.
As a child, yeah.
Even now, we don't have so much children books.
But we have like the Tumanyans and stuff from
but it's
the
not-
Soviet
Yeah,
times.
but it's not what today's children need.
Agreed.
Okay, well, this is my opinion. So I wanted to create a book, and I was trying to find a story. I couldn't. There was no stories, free story that I could take and that was really inspiring me. And then I thought, okay, I will write my story.
Mhm.
And I just started writing a story that I would love to illustrate. This was the Blue Fox, my first book, which was pretty successful.
I think a lot of people know
Yeah.
you through that
Yeah,
book.
well, I worked on this story about 1 year. I changed and reworked it many times, and I illustrated book really long. This is the first story that kind of I felt that yeah, this is something I want to do, and I like what I do.
This was which year?
It was 2016, but I
Mhm.
published the book here in Armenia 2017.
If you're enjoying this episode, follow us on Spotify or subscribe to our YouTube channel.
So I don't know where the stories come. I mean, I assume there is a dimension where the stories live, and I kind of connect to the stories, and this stream of symbolic stories with symbolic language come to me. I tell the stories first to my child, to my inner
Inner child,
child,
yes.
because the stories are born from some truths that I've learned, and then symbolically they become stories for others.
Very nice. And do you have an editor and someone who reviews your text?
So yeah, I do ask for the final review for someone, but mainly it's my.
Illustrations that you create for these books, are they different in each publications? Like, do they have, or it's a similar style? You want to maintain a certain kind of, signature that people look at your visuals and say, "Oh, this must be a Lilit."
I think they do, but I don't try to keep it the same.
I see.
Because for me, the project kind of dictates its style. The idea, the concept, the project dictates even to which kind of project it will be. Okay, like the animation film, I could make it a book also, but I felt it's gonna be animation.
Mhm.
I kind of try to do new things for me, so to keep it also interesting for me, and also I like new things.
Yeah. Publishing house are very important. They play an important role in this. Your experience in publishing house in Armenia, how's that been?
I think we need more publishing houses who have clear vision of what kind of books they want, especially for children. Let's say for adults, I think everything is fine so far. But for children, we need new houses to have a specific vision to create new books.
Let's talk also in terms of what the publishing house would do for the project
For
in terms of digital, because now more people are using digital solutions for their readings, right? Still for children, I think it's a little too early, but I've seen a lot of parents that give an iPad and say, okay, read the book now, or there's interactive books, listen to a story, listen to music, color the animals and whatnot. So is that something that you want to do? Is that something that, digital world,
Mm.
does it live in your realm?
Mm.
No.
Well, first of all, I don't believe that picture books will be easily replaced with digital books. I don't deny that digital books have their place, and there's just diversity in children's life, let's say. But picture book has very important thing. A parent who reads to their child with the voice of the parent, with this intimate moment before sleeping, and this is very intimate and important part
Of the development of the
the
child.
of parenting, let's say, of the development of the child. So you wouldn't replace this with the digital tools.
The analog, the paper, the
Mm.
touch is a different experience
Yes.
when the child turns the pages and so
Yeah.
on. There's a reality we have to face also that one gadget has hundreds of books in it,
Mm.
and it's easily transportable. You don't lose the book, you don't rip the page. I'm thinking that in the future this may come and replace it. Now for today, this is a different reality for you and me because we're a different generation and
Yeah.
we grew up with like a completely analog environment.
Yeah. I don't say no. Maybe in the very future, like very far
Right.
future, there will be different human beings even
True, I
where
agree.
I wouldn't be.
Yeah, maybe.
And I'm happy that I
Yeah,
will not be there.
yeah.
But even today, I don't see picture books or books, paper books disappearing. In Europe, in France, in everywhere we have big festivals, big publishing
Right.
houses. They thrive. I don't see it disappearing.
Sure, and then that's not my intention. Is not to argue that it's not necessary or it's useless or it will go extinct. I'm just trying to figure out what's the best balance between that analog that has its place and the digital that is more and more demanding, is in demand.
Yeah, I think the life is going to change.
Right.
I see it. Maybe I'm not ready for it yet,
Mhm.
and maybe most of us are not
Yeah.
ready. And it's going to change really differently, really fast.
And really fast. And I think
Yes.
that's the danger as a Generation X person. We saw the change. We went from the rotary phone to the touch phone to the pager
Yeah.
to the big mobile phones, that were not necessarily smart,
Yeah.
to the smaller version, early smartphones, to completely smarter phones than
Yeah.
us, that listen to what we say and are able to make coffee for us.
With the AI also, like
AI is a big revolution, and I think that's when we talk about the speed of things. AI will speed things really quickly, and I'm just trying in my conversations to understand this future, what it will look like,
yeah.
either with my university studies, also with my personal research in the field that I work in. I think recently the EU had a futures forum where they talk about all these issues and impact on society and how we as humans need to cope with and understand and make policies around it.
As a person who is not interacting with AI at all,
At all.
at all.
So for editing, you don't use AI?
No, I don't. I don't even know where ChatGPT is.
Oh, okay. When you say you don't use AI, I also was fighting against the use of AI, but in time I learned that this is a tool and it depends how we use it. The same way as we were growing up, we started learning, spell checks and emails and all kinds of different kind of electronic tools that made our communications, made our lives different and even easier to some extent. I say easier, but in reality, it's more demanding because now you're more available. Someone writes you on your social, they expect a 24-hour return on that message. Otherwise, they think I'm ignoring them. So all of these realities have shifted the way we are as people, as humans, also as society, how we convene and communicate. You don't use AI, but do you imagine that one day AI may replace the work you're doing?
At first, I was a little bit afraid when the AI started to interfere into art world, let's say. But then quickly I realized that it's just a tool. It's just a more powerful tool to create more clear, or I don't know, more specific visuals. But what's the content? It's the human being who is asking AI to do this. And the art is not only outside. The art is not only visual. Art has a concept. Art has an emotion. Art is born from emotion, from experience, from human. If these two you don't put together, it doesn't make sense. And AI doesn't have emotion.
Right.
It doesn't have experience. It uses our experiences, it's mimicking our experiences back to us, kind of creating an illusion that it has empathy, but it doesn't. Empathy is something that only humans have now, and I don't think soon AI, like in the future, it's gonna be really like fast that AI has an empathy.
Yeah, because if that happens, that's actually what divides us between the digital world and the real human world.
Yeah.
Is the empathy,
Yeah.
having this emotion that connects you to the other human, or environment, or animals,
Or anything.
or everything, yeah, anything, food. I see what your point is. I still believe that there is going to be a different kind of artist in the future that uses their empathy and their human input. And so instead of having perhaps a paintbrush, they will have tool that's an AI generator. And I think we have that now, but I believe that in 5 years, it will look so different. The general person will not imagine it unless we do a deep dive and try and see what's coming in the future. Then we can foresee the kind of future we will have. But I totally agree that the human factor will remain. Emotional intelligence is a major factor in art, music, theater, film. So it can replicate things, but it can't create completely new things. Having said this about creation, it's interesting that you mentioned that you don't like the technical work of making film or animation, right? So the editing, the coloring, all that is requires lots of time. Yet you do very intricate, creative, meticulous tattoos that take a long time. I mean, I have a tattoo from you, and one of the most beautiful tattoos that I have, the giraffe that is bowing its head to life.
That is created from 50 pieces.
It's created from 50 pieces, and it was on my 50th birthday, so that was the whole idea. And it's just a beautiful piece of art that I have, and I will keep that as a memory from you as an artist. But doesn't making tattoos also require meticulous and time consuming?
Yeah, but you don't compare this to animation.
Okay, why not?
Yes, it does. I like working with my hands. I like creating things with my hands. Otherwise, I wouldn't be illustrator artist,
I see.
There was a time I was creating journals, just folding papers and sewing a journal. I mean, I like doing things with my hands, and tattoo is one of those. But the thing with the tattoo is that working with on a human skin is just a magical feeling. It's such a nice experience.
I never thought about it this way,
Yeah. The skin is alive, first of all. I love this process. And it doesn't make me bored of the process. Also, the tattoo as an art form kind of inspires me and gives me more emotions. Each piece for each person has a healing power. And I believe that art has a healing power.
For sure.
Art has healing power for me, and when it's done, when it's already out of myself, let's say, it has healing power for others. So tattoo is just one of those things. And the transformation that the person is going before tattoo and getting the tattoo and then after the tattoo, it's just a magical process that I love to be part of it.
You're totally right.
Yeah.
And you just defined the process so beautifully. Being ready for a tattoo, having something permanent on your skin that will be part of you is big decision. It is relatively a big decision.
Yeah, now it's not so big.
It's not as big,
still.
but it is a big decision because you have it for a long time. I mean, you can erase it if you want, but the point is not that. The point is you're putting something quasi-permanent on your body, and that emotional preparedness.
The pain
that you
fear
endure.
that you're overcoming, and the visual symbol that will remind you of this meaning. It all has a big power.
So I've done tattoos with a variety of different artists in different parts of the world. That connection is also important, the artist and myself. There were some artists I didn't connect with, and I didn't enjoy the process. I was just waiting for the process to finish, because it wasn't enjoyable. It was just like more technical. All right, he's doing something on my skin, But with you, there was a difference. Like even when we weren't speaking, even when there was no conversation, just that aura, it felt very creative. And for that, thank you.
I'm happy.
Let's try and wrap up with understanding where Lilit is going from now, from here. What are the big projects that you're working on, or small projects? What's the passion, the drive that's taking you from here to the next day.
This love of the books is not stopping yet.
I see.
I'm still continuing creating picture books for children because I have many stories and I want to illustrate them.
I was just going to say, have stories come up?
I kind of stopped this process because when I have more stories and then I don't find time to illustrate them, it kind
I
of
see.
it's heavy on me. So I want to finish all the stories that I have and then maybe I will. I have a project of creating a book for grown-ups, a visual book, an artist book, with which I went to do my residency program in Germany recently. So hopefully this year I will finish it.
You also, I know that you've traveled a lot. Is that something that has impacted the work that you do?
No, I think traveling is just opens my horizon. It's just a inflow of information, an inflow of visuals, inflow of experiences that makes my soul grow, maybe, and collect emotions.
I guess the people you meet, the
Yeah.
places you go, things you see.
Yeah, and then see the world, how different is the world outside, or each culture, how different is from one another, and also how similar we are human beings to each other.
Good point, because there's more similarities than we think.
Yeah. Traveling is just inspiration, but not directed towards any specific world,
I see.
any specific work that I do. I think my work is more inspired by coffee spills.
Well, that's actually the starting point of some reaching a pineapple. So
Yeah.
it's always a starting point. You do something, doesn't work out, and then you would have to think of, what do I do? Just ignore it, leave it, or do I fix it, or do I do something completely new?
Yeah, coffee spills are doomed to become pineapples in artist hands.
Thank you for that analogy. So I want to just say thank you for this very honest conversation that we had. I enjoyed speaking with you as I always do. I'm looking forward to the next publication.
Yeah.
And hopefully new animation works in the future as well.
Who knows?
Who knows? Thank you. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to support us, follow us on Spotify or subscribe to the YouTube channel to learn more about the creatives from around the world who inspire us with their stories. Coffee spills and pineapples. See you in the next episode.